Everyone, we are back with Uzumaki episode 2. It's Romania Black and yeah, so last episode, what a way to start and immediately set the precedent of how scary this all is and quite frightful. So spooky month continues as we dive into episode 2. I do have my internet back, so yay. So I have this pulled up through streaming to watch. Hopefully the subtitles work. It says it's going to be in Japanese with English, but I'm like, we'll see how that goes. But last episode was wild. I did go back and rewatch it today in the English dub. The voice actor for Shoichi in the English dub is the same as Megumi from the English dub of Jujutsu Kaisen, which I've watched a little bit of so I can hear it. And then the voice actress who plays Kiri, she is the same voice actress for the English dub that does Nezuko for Demon Slayer. So if you want to imagine Nezuko and Megumi together, then sure. Actually, that couple actually works out really well. But yeah. The English dub is pretty good. I liked it a lot. But I definitely did not rewatch that fingertip scene. Absolutely not. Although, so creepy and so eerie, and we've just started our descent into the spiral. So, I am very curious if this is going to be one of those horror series where, because sometimes horror movies will give an explanation of what's happening by the end, and sometimes they don't. That's one thing that's really scary about like George Romero, like Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, things like that. Some of the actions that happen throughout the series have explanation, but the origin itself of the zombies, for example, in Romero's work, they don't ever really get explained. It's just, it'll be like a passing phrase of being like, we suspect that it was nuclear radiation from such and such, but they don't ever confirm it and they don't go into detail. It's just like, it happened and now here's the situation and now you have to deal with it. So there was a part of me rewatching episode 1 today that was wondering, are they going to explain the spiral, or is it just going to be a metaphorical, symbolic thing that you don't find out where it comes from by the end? You just have to deal with it along with the characters. So it'll be interesting to see where these next 3 episodes go, but I'm super excited to see what happens with them. So very, very exciting indeed. But before we start, I want to give a shout out, especially because of the streaming service platform I'm using. It's not what I usually use, so I do have to pay streaming service fees for that. And Patreon helps me and supports me a lot with my channel. So I want to give a shout out, especially to the philanthropy tier. This week, we have some new members on it, but you all help to pay for these subscriptions, and I really appreciate all of your support. So special shout out to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to BBT, as well as Bryant Reed, Damage3245, Dana, Danger Zone, Danny Donmai, Davorin, Destiny Marie, Ichu, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, Elfreya, Liam Foles, Lyndon, Matthew Palfinier, Murphy, Nameless Monster, Nicholas, as well as No Nickname, Sunspots, Shimoyama Trails, Translucent Men, Alexandra Q, and Moroni W. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, I'm going to start this back up. I had this down. It timed itself out, so but we've got back through. I've tried to, there's always with this streaming service a advertisement, and I've tried to time it just to where the advertisement stops, but of course, you know, I'm trying to time it just immediately as we can. So the timer may be a hot second off, but I'm going to try to get it as close as I can, so humor me. But anyway, I hope you all enjoy. We're not going to waste any more time. We are going to dive further into the spiral and see what all we get. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's see what happens with Uzumaki episode 2. And let's go. Like, get all this up here. Okay. Oh, there's a spiral in the building. Of course. Mm-hmm. Oh, is he coming back in? Katayama. Ha! His voice actor in the English dub is the same as the English dub voice actor for... Oh no, for Joe. in Skate the Infinity. Nope! Not good! Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no! Yeah, it does look like a snail shell. Carrie's like, get out of the classroom! Girl, get out! Get out! Get out of the class! Ah. Nope. Oh, and it looks like a pair of eyes, doesn't it? Oh, creepy. Oh my god. Oh, get that mic back on there. Oh! What is this? In this dilapidated house, what is this? What? Why are they in this ran down old house? Oh, nope, 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 nope. Oh, get the fudge out! Oh, crud. Yeah, get out. Oh, wow, so they're siblings. Yeah. Is this about to get all Game of Thrones? What are we doing? Oh, and there's a spiral on the tombstone. She's like, oh, you know. Oh, to not have the cremation spirals. Yeah. Yeah, we just had to get reminded of that. So what do we do with that? Sure. Oh, really? Oh, interesting. So it's just from their city. I mean, were these not, I guess they're just tombstones or memorials before. Oh my god. Yeah, why'd you say you love her and then do that? What? She's like, did you not hear what I just said? I don't get good vibes. Dude, no. That was so weird. I was like, he's gonna be creepy later, for sure. Oh. Uh. So what happened? Oh. Who? Yeah. Uh-huh. The poorhouse. Okay. Oh my god, all the spirals. Oh, so they're not actually siblings. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. Just like the setup. Uh-huh. Hmm. She's like, what? Yeah, get out of here. Leave. Don't stay here. By all means. Oh my god. Anytime we go back to the mom, I'm like terrified for her. Nope. Oh, there isn't that the one girl? Oh. Interesting that he can sense this. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. And there's the... Oh my god. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh, Shuichi's not going to want to be around her at all. I wonder if she got infected from the one kid. And a double helix, which is a spiral. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ew, no. The snail. Oh my god. Oh, why? Oh! Ah! Ah! Oh my god! That's so creepy! She's like, I gotta get out of here! Oh my god, and it's a spiral too! Oh my god, oh no! Oh shit. Oh no, girl. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. So what now? Oh my god. And they're all pulled into it. Shit! Oh my god. Oh my gosh. She's like, what do I do? Well, what do you think? Oh my god. Oh my god, it's like hypnotizing everybody. Oh no. Oh my god. And they're not freaked out this kid just became a snail? She's like, oh my god, help me. Oh my god. She's like, damn it! Why do I have to be a cult leader? I didn't want this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like the fudge? Shit. So now what? Shuichi's gonna freak out about this, right? I don't feel like this is going to go well at all. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh. Oh my god. Nope, I don't like where that's headed at all. Oh, no, 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 no. No, oh my god, no. Oh my god. Oh my god, what the fudge? Shit. And he's all twisted up in the wheel. No, nope. Blah. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's still there. Oh my god. Oh no! Oh my god. She's like, I didn't ask for this! She's like, cool. I don't want to mess with any of this. Why are we having this battle? Oh my god. She's like, I don't want any of this. Oh my god, no, girl! I don't want Carrie to die! Oh my god. Oh, oh. Oh my god, I don't want him to die either! Oh my god. Like, it's like draining the life force out of her. There we go. I was like, did he have the scissors still? Oh my god. Thank goodness he cut it off. Oh my god. Yeah, it was like starting to drain her. Oh my god. It's like a vine just like draining her. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm like, y'all could just follow the trails of slime. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, oh. Well, you're gonna get all that on you. Oh my god. Oh my god. Y'all should get out of here. Oh my god. I'm just like, hurry up, let's go. Oh shit. There was a lot happening in this episode. Oh my god. Oh my god. Running in sand is hard, y'all. It's really hard. Oh my god. 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 This episode got really a lot more sexual than I thought it was going to. I'm talking about like the DNA and the double helix and all that. And the snake, yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. They acted remarkably calm about that. And there's the damn lighthouse. What? With the light on now? Oh my god, she's going in a spiral. Oh my god. Crap. Oh my god. Girl, get out! Yeah, okay, so this is... Oh, okay! Oh. Oh my god, the teacher. Oh my god! Nope! Oh. But they saw it. Uh-huh. Oh my god. Oh shit, the lighthouse! Isn't that her brother? Girl! No! And of course it's a spiral. Why? Why? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Girl, get out of there. Oh my god. Yeah, get out of there. I would have saw the first crispy body and turned right back around. Oh! What the fudge? Oh my god. I like how she's not affected. Oh my god. Yes. Yeah, get the fudge out of there. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit. No. Oh my god. What? What? Surely she's not dead. Surely not. Oh. Well. Oh shit. This whole episode, I don't know. I'm holding off on Whiteboard Coon. I really am. I'll probably bring them out next episode, but this was like body horror and sexual horror and just like some creepy shit just going on throughout this episode. And a lot happened. A lot happened in a very short amount of time. And I realize we only have 4 episodes to get through all this, but there was a lot go on in these 4 episodes to where I was like, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground. Now, granted, supposedly, if I'm looking at this correctly, there are 3 volumes of the manga, but there are only 4 episodes. So 3 volumes, that's a lot of content still. I don't know. I may have to read the manga and do like a post-op review afterwards, because now I'm curious. I may have to go through and actually, since it's only 3 volumes, I may have to go through and read the 3 volumes once I'm done with this series and then do like a review of it that would probably come out in November, as like a follow-up to be like, what the fudge? Because what a crazy, oh my god, just absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. I feel like a lot happened and I felt like we rushed through it, but we still have 2 episodes to go. We're only halfway through. Everything is, I think probably the scariest part about this episode is just that everyone in the town just kind of accepted it. They were just like, they just accepted the madness and just went along with it and were like, okay. The only ones who haven't really accepted it are Kiri and Shuichi, which I got really worried for Kiri in this episode because I was like, girl, she like with the hair and everything, I was like, is she gonna, because we just literally watched Azami last episode get sucked into herself through the spiral, right? We literally just watched her get sucked into it. And I was like, okay, is that about to happen to Kiri? Was I totally wrong? Was she actually going to die in this? And she might. I don't know. Because spoilers for Night of the Living Dead, it came out in the 50s or 60s, like 50 years ago. So if you've not seen it, I'm sorry I'm spoiling this for you. I'll raise my hand when I've stopped spoiling the Romero Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead series. I'll raise my arm again when I stop doing that. But they're coming to get you, Barbara. In Night of the Living Dead, Kiri reminds me a lot of Barbara from that series, because Barbara is very innocent. She's very unsuspecting. She kind of feels like just a fly on the wall that interacts with the characters of the story. Now, to give Kiri a lot of credit, Kiri has a lot more onus and a lot more agency than Barbara did in Night of the Living Dead. She seems like she's much more involved in what's going on, and we'll talk about that when I'm done with Romero spoilers. But in Night of the Living Dead, Barbara does end up dying. She does die. She makes it to the end and then she dies. And it's like, damn it, no. And the reason why she dies is because her brother, she can't let him go. And it's like, So I do worry that Barbara will get involved with Shuichi and possibly die. I do worry that Shuichi could possibly die in this. He seems like he can detect when things are going awry, but I don't know. I'm like, I want to tell both of them, just get out of town, leave. actually do that. But in Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead, or Dawn of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, in both of those, a lot of the main characters, some of them make it out alive, some of them don't make it out alive, and a lot of it just has to do with whatever the circumstance ends up being. So end of those spoilers. But I kept wanting to tell both of them during this episode, just leave, just get out, go. You don't have to stay in this. I wish they'd just leave town. But I think that for Kiri, what keeps her there is her brother, who little shit goes up to the lighthouse. I felt like, we'll talk about the lighthouse scene, but I was like, what are you doing, little brother? And then with Shoichi, it's his mother, obviously, which I feel like she's gonna die at this point. I feel like if she dies, then Shuichi's gonna be like, let's go. And then try to convince Kiri to leave with him. So, but the crazy thing is that the people in this town, when they go to other places, they still have whatever, if it's a curse, whatever is happening here, they still have that happening within the town, because even if they go somewhere else, it still affects them, which is crazy. So even if they leave, if they're infected, it could possibly spread to other towns. So we don't know what the case may be. We don't know what's going on. Or if this is a curse, if it's a contamination, whatever it is, if it's even curable. Things are just getting wild, because anything that's connected to a spiral is going to have, and now we know the snail shell has impact in this episode with the one character. They're like, oh, the thing on his back looks like a snail shell. That's really freaky. I would be like, if I were that teacher, I'd be like, hey, you want to go to a nurse? You want to go see a school nurse? You want to go take care of some things? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. What's interesting about the one character, Hayama, I think that's his name, that turns into a snail first, is kind of the idea that he's ridiculed and that he's kind of bullied and ridiculed by others in the story, and they don't seem to really care about him because he automatically doesn't fit in with them. He's already considered slow to begin with before he even starts turning into a snail. So they kind of just bully him and leave him to the side. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a commentary on how people who normally are ostracized, they don't care anyway. So even when they're showing signs of, hey, maybe something bad's happening, maybe we should take note of this, nobody does. And you could, I guess, apply that to other things, where if somebody in the classroom is showing signs of a red flag, like maybe we should take care of this, but people ignore it, then it kind of blows up and then it starts affecting other people. Maybe, possibly, that could be a commentary that Ito's making. I don't know. So that damn lighthouse that finally lights up, we'll talk about it later, but we have this dilapidated house where the two of them, the two characters there, are living in the poorhouse. I thought they were siblings at first, but it's like a Romeo and Juliet story. They're basically from two families that are impoverished and they want to run away together to escape the hazards and impoverished future that they both have in this town. There was a lot of sexual horror in this episode. A lot of sexual horror, from like the snakes mating. We'll talk about the snails. But the snakes mating and being tangled up. But the two of them being here next to one another, like trying to just basically, it's like everything in that house is just rotted, right? But yeah, the two snakes like going through there, they're coiled around each other and showing that they're mating. Mm-hmm. And he's like, they're so creepy. Are they fighting? And then she says, like our parents tearing out each other's throats. So she wasn't referring to their mom and dad like they were siblings. She was referring to the two families fighting like Romeo and Juliet style. And he's like, no, they're not fighting. They're mating. And I think that in itself is part of the horror as well, that there is such a very thin veil between violence and sex, that there is like a very thin veil and it's often very correlated. So, which ties into not only the snakes mating, looking like they're fighting, the families fighting, and the two of them ending up becoming like a snake themselves in whatever, and then going into the ocean, never to be seen again. What the fudge? So there's that. But also with the bully, and Hayama, which we'll talk about in a little bit, the bully who ends up becoming a snail as well, and that thin line between violence and sex. So we'll get back to that. But yeah, so Carrie is very, she always came across to me in the last episode as ditzy, but here she's kind of like processing her trauma, being like, I can't talk about this. I've talked with Shuichi. We're just kind of like trying to stay alert about this whole spiral thing. And they talk about how they're burying people that have died instead of cremating them to keep the spiral from spreading, that they are buried now. And what's interesting is, like, in the United States, we mostly bury the dead. I mean, cremation is a very viable option, but most of the people, at least in my area, are usually buried. So the fact that she was like, oh my gosh, dead bodies amongst all these stones that are just memorials, it was interesting to see kind of that little cultural difference reflected there. So then there was Yamaguchi, Jack in the Box, who ends up dying a horrific death. I feel like, I don't know if that was one of the moments that I felt might be extended in the manga, because it just happens and then it's done. And it was like, oh shit. His storyline, I wondered if there was more of it in the manga. I could see why they would cut it down, because he's just this one character and he's going to end up dying anyway. So maybe they had to cut down his character for time. I don't know. But he was such a weird character, because he kept trying to tell Kiri he was going to date her and stuff. And again, there has been, since the last episode, this kind of thin line of consent and sex and horror. And with Azami, with her character, she welcomed it. She welcomed all of the men throwing themselves at her and for having this like desire surrounding her. Like, she seemed totally fine with it until Shuichi was the one that she couldn't get. And then it was like consuming her, that she couldn't have what she wanted. She couldn't access that lust and utilize it on him because he wasn't interested in her. And here Yamaguchi kind of seems similar to that, where he's trying to throw himself at Kiri, and Kiri is like, I'm not interested. And there's a lot of commentary in this episode, and as a woman, it kind of like struck me where he's just like, well, I'll do anything for you, and why don't you love me and all this. And it's like, she was very clear why she didn't, and you didn't listen. And she was like, you don't understand. I'm not going to like you. And I totally understand that. Like, myself, my friends, we've all had instances where we've told another person, in my case, a man, I've been like, I'm not interested. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not interested. And they keep on being persistent. Like, I'm going to change my mind, or they can wear me down. And it's annoying and frustrating. And it's like, no, just move on. Go find someone else. There's billions of people out there. Go. And so, but I feel like Yamaguchi kind of reflects that uncomfortableness and that creepiness. And then it kind of all, I kept wondering when he showed back up, I'm like, what is in the box? Is that going to be a spiral? Which it's the Jack in the Box on the spring. So it is a spiral. But him trying to get her attention and then getting up in the spoke of the wheel and spiraling, it's like, it's just really annoying, right? It's really annoying. So, but I felt for Kiri, where she's like, just go away. It also felt like his character was like the brother of Barbara in Night of the Living Dead. And he's like, they're coming to get you, Barbara. And he's like yelling at Kiri. It felt very Night of the Living Dead, and even took place in a cemetery, which is where Night of the Living Dead takes place. So it felt like there was a connection there as well. So then there's the parents tearing apart the siblings. I feel like a lot in this episode is expanded on the manga, and I really want to read the manga now to see what ends up happening. Right? The rotoscoping is so creepy. It's just really, really creepy. And she's like, oh, are you okay? I kept being worried the entire time with Kazunori and the one girl. And of course, in the sun's a spiral, the clouds, there's spirals everywhere in the background, which is just, it's like an Easter egg hunt, right? But when Kazunori talks about him and the girl he likes, what's her name? They're going to talk about, he's like, well, do you remember Kiri? My family moved here when I was in grade school, and we settled into that old abandoned row house, the one that everyone calls the poor house. And she's like, oh yeah, I like that Kiri's like, oh yeah, Shuichi and I would go over there sometimes. I think that it's important with Kiri's character that she's very accepting and tolerant, which I think kind of, she's like this little pure beacon that's not affected by things. But she doesn't necessarily judge him right off the bat when he says he's living in the poorhouse. She's like, oh yeah, we would go over there. It's fine. Like, she doesn't really view it that way. I feel though like her talking with him and her interacting with him got her infected with the spiral in her hair, right? She's like, yeah, we would sometimes go over there. And then we see all the spirals. Well, they're sitting in the grass too, and the grass have spirals. So maybe that's where her hair got it from. He says Yuriko's family are neighbors in the same property. So Yuriko and Kazunori, but we all hate each other. And he's like I said, they're so twisted. And so then he says, what's interesting is, so they're all in this neighborhood where they're trapped as neighbors. They all hate each other. He's like, I think it's because they can't accept the poverty that they've been dealt, and so they twist into knots. And there's the two houses next to each other that are dilapidated. And look, as someone, this story and this entire plot hits me like a ton of bricks, because as someone that grows up in a very impoverished community, like I'm in the middle of the rural Midwest America, and where I'm at, like I grew up in a school that did not have a lot of resources. I, went to a community college before going on. Like, I'm used to being in environments where there's not a lot of access to resources, and there's a lot of people around me in poverty. And so what he talks about in this monologue about how people, they get so frustrated with the system, and they get so frustrated with the circumstances that they end up and find themselves surrounded in, that it just becomes a spiral. And I was like, oh my gosh, they twist into knots. And I want to talk about that here in just a second, but he says it's their only shield from that reality. When two twisted people lock horns, they entangle and things spiral out of control. Yes. So, I mean, it's just, there's multiple levels to this. So on the one hand, I knew someone that they would talk all the time about how they're like, well, I don't really have a lot of extra money, so I can't go do a lot of things. And then I'd be like, okay, well, could you get this? But I'd be like, I'd give them suggestions of things to do. And then they'd be like, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And rather than that person try some things to better themselves, they just accepted that this is the way things were, and it would just spiral out of control. And I'm like, and they would get caught in, we talked about whirlpools last episode. They get caught in the whirlpool and they couldn't get out. And so I feel like what Kazunori is talking about is, on one level, these people get into these situations, they can't find a way around it. And so they just continue to spiral further and further to the point where they can't escape. And then in other situations, they get entangled with each other, and then things spiral out of control, which we see later with the one girl in the class trying to pick a fight with Kiri. Though they get entangled and things spiral out of control. And luckily Shuichi shows up to cut her out and do that. But if he hadn't been there, then they both would have died. So the show does a really good job of personifying that metaphor. And even the two snails getting together and mating, that spirals out of control as well. So it's just through different circumstances and different examples explaining how things can get to the point where you can't recover from them, and they just get to the point where they're all consuming. And that's what's happening with the town. It's just all consumed with whatever this curse or phenomenon is, that it's just getting out of control. And he's like, it's impossible to break free. And so she's like, really? They're really that twisted? And that will go back to when they both become the snake, and that they can't break free from it. So they just accept their fate. Right? And she's like, well, you're not that twisted at all, Kazunori. And she expresses that they should get away. And he's like, Yoriko and I are going to run away. And she's like, yeah, you should totally do that. And the thing that sucks is that they could have gotten away, but then the family, because they wouldn't let them go, ended up causing them to finally just accept their fate and twist together to where they couldn't be broken away from each other anymore. It was just, and then there's like the two of them twisting together and the sexual connotation of them like being together and going into the sea together. I'm like, oh my God, like all the horror, the body horror. Now in their case, it seemed like it was somewhat consensual. So, but still terrifying. Then there's the mom. The mom freaks me out. I keep thinking the mom is going to have something horrible happen to her. and it's just only a matter of time, right? I keep thinking the mom's gonna have something horrible happen to her. And so then Shuichi's like, what does he say there? He keeps talking about, yeah, they see the mom. They have hats on their head. I don't know how the hats on their head are covering all of their hair, but whatever. She's like, I hope that Kazunori and the girl can find a way to be happy. He's like, it's no wonder that their families hate each other. And so then Shuichi talks about the curse of the spiral. What's interesting is Shuichi is a lot like his dad, where he's obsessed with the spiral. He just hasn't, as far as we know, been taken over by it. But we didn't see him a lot in this episode, except when he saved her. So I worry about Shuichi. I still think he's going to die, but I worry about him. I don't know if he's going to die with her or what's going to happen. He says, the curse of the spiral, I can sense it hanging over that row house. So he can supposedly sense this curse that he calls it of the spiral. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the spiral is making them twisted and warping their souls. He's like, I could always be wrong, but the curse feels strong over there. I mean, he wasn't wrong with Azami, so this entire town has started to be slowly infected by the spiral. And then he gives her the pictures of the kids. So I want to see, he's like, once they're touched by the spiral, which has the clear power to draw everything straight into its center. Okay, and then there's like someone there that's died afterwards. They're driven to attract the attention of everyone and anyone. So that makes sense. So if you're infected with the spiral, you try to draw people's attention. So Azami was that way. The dad was that way through the cremation. The snails, like, attracting towards each other, which we'll talk about in a minute. The two of them attracted towards one another through the house with the spiral. And maybe they did love each other, but the house and the curse of the spiral probably didn't help. And then there's the whole lighthouse business, which we'll talk about it. But then there's the hair, which attracts attention as well. And like the spirals of the hair started brainwashing people, which was terrifying. I was like, Kiri, you know, is like, she can't get brainwashed herself, but everyone around her was like brainwashed by the spirals, which I thought for a hot second that Shuichi was going to get brainwashed as well. Luckily, he did not. So that was good. But still, and he's like, Kiri, your hair is getting longer. And she's like, oh, really? And it does. Yeah. So it ends up getting longer and curling up. And of course, we see multiple spirals appearing on the building now. Yep. Oh my God. The moment her hair started curling, I was really terrified because I thought that that meant Shuichi wasn't going to trust her anymore. And he was going to basically like try to either kill her or run away from her. And honestly, Shuichi, she needs Shuichi. Shuichi needs her. They need each other to help get through this madness. So the snails. When did Uzumaki come out? I want to check something real quick. When did Uzumaki's manga get created? It was created in 1998 to 1999 is when it first came out. Okay. I want to check when one particular episode came out as well. When was that? When did it air? I was thinking of the SpongeBob SquarePants episode, which is called I Was a Teenage Gary. Okay, the episode was pitched September 15th of 1998, and the storyboard was made and completed on October 26th, 1998. So, when did Uzumaki okay, its original run was from January of 1998 to August 30th of 1999. It just seems like, you know, complete coincidence that these two episodes involving people turning into snails just came out the exact same year. Okay, now granted that it has to be coincidence because the volumes didn't come out in English until 2002. Was 2001 and 2002 were the first editions of them. So, okay. Sure, Jan. All right, so it's just unless the creator of SpongeBob, he was a marine biologist, so maybe he knew Japanese. Maybe he did. It just is complete coincidence that the episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants in 1998, where they turn into snails, was created the same year as the chapters of Uzumaki came out involving the snail. What was going on in the zeitgeist in 1998 that was about people turning into snails? What was happening? What was going on? I need to know. This is the biggest mystery of the series so far. How did these things coincide? What was going on? But yeah, so I thought that going into this, that what was going to happen with Katayama, what was going to happen with him, I thought what was going to happen was that the thing on his back was going to be like a pimple and just explode into a bunch of spirals or like snot or some gross stuff. But it becomes a snail shell and he turns into a snail. Crazy. And then the one guy, the bully, he sees him hanging out the window as he's going up there. And then as he turns over, like, oh my God. And the eyeballs turning into snails. Nope. I'm like, that episode of SpongeBob SquarePants gave me nightmares when I first saw it. I was like 10 years old when I saw it. Nightmares. So with this, I was like, oh, this is it 2.0. Great. Meanwhile, Kiri's like, well, I'm glad we're all focused on these snails. This is creepy. I'm getting out of here. Bye. So they're like, what do we do? And she tries to go to the hair salon. I love that the hair salon sign is a spiral too. That was insane. But the woman tries to cut her hair. It does not work out. So then she goes home and all of her family, her brother and everyone, they're all possessed by the spirals as well. And she's like, what the fudge? And then everybody at school is as well. So it's like, what is even going on? Yeah. So now she goes to school and she's like, what can I do? And everybody's like, you there, what's going on with your hair? She's like, well, I wish I knew. And then, of course, everybody gets hypnotized. The spirals take on like a mind of their own. And they're just using everyone as a host, is what it seems like. They're just using people as a host, taking them over, and then just enacting their will. So the one girl that we don't know, I'm wondering if she has more presence in the manga. She's the one that wants to like look at the spiral and get more attention than her. So again, as Shoichi talked about, it feels like people who have innate anger, innate lust, innate greed, innate envy. These sinful people are much more likely to be possessed by the spiral than someone who is pretty pure-minded like Kiri, even though she's just like, sorry, my hair, what do I do about this? It's interesting. So then, yeah, they all go to class there, and there's the one, they're like, Sumaru, he's like, you won't believe what Sluggo had for breakfast today, a bunch of weeds from the chicken coop. And they're like, Sluggo? They're like, why are you calling him that? And they're like, that's pretty harsh, Sumura. And then that's when they all see her with the spiral hair. And so he sees the spiral hair, but it shows Sumara looking at the spirals, but his eyes don't necessarily change. So I don't know. Clearly, that's when she goes to see Katayama inside of his snail shell in there. Okay, so let me run this by you. They have the parents come to see him. And the parents of Katayama come to visit him. And they're like, this is your son. And they're like, what? And then they try to look at him and he comes out all covered in goop, looking like a damn snail, creepy as F. And they're like, well, that can't be our son. And they like run away from him. They're like, is this a sick joke? And they're like, we're leaving. And they just instantly abandon him. Like the teacher's like, there's your son. And they just instantly abandon him without a second thought, right? I like that you can see the hair of Kiri poking out from behind the house. And she's just like, oh, she's like, well, poor Katayama, that sucks for you. Right? And then she offers to try to give him some water. She's like showing her kindness, trying to give him some water there to make him feel better. Like good on her for being a nice person. All right. Now, I feel like maybe Sumara visiting him at the snail house and like trying to feed him and stuff might have caused him to get infected. That might have been it. What I was going to say is back in the other episode with the locker room scene where they're getting Katayama up against the wall, like there's bullying, but then there's like kind of explicit bullying that kind of borders along like, why did you do that? Why were you doing that? And look, I'm making a lot of assumptions about these characters in this moment, but from talking to friends of mine that have been in high school and dealt with a lot of homophobic behavior, for example, I had a friend that was often bullied and was made fun of because of his sexuality and involved some things that are kind of like what happens in this episode. And so, or it happened in the last episode. And so for me, the fact that Sumura is the one that's doing all the bullying, and he explicitly like tears off Katayama's clothing and drags him out nude into the hallway and does all of that, like that's taking it to another level that made me wonder last episode if maybe Sumura was possibly hiding some, like he was hiding some latent feelings about his own sexuality, and he didn't want to come to terms with those or didn't know what to do with those, so he was just acting out and projecting them onto Katayama. And then when we see the scene of Katayama's parents coming, and Katayama has kind of come out as this snail and is in this shell, the parents instantly like reject him. They're like, nope, not our kid, bye, and just leave without anything, which kind of feels like a moment of a parent rejecting their kid because of them coming out because of their sexuality. It just seemed like that. There seemed like there could be shades of that symbolism there. And then with Sumura, it was kind of like just shades of, why are you explicitly bullying him like this? And why are you being so sexual about it? So, but anyway, she goes home with the hair and everything. And poor Kiri is like, what do we do? And everybody's following her. And then there is, okay, so Sumura is there and he says, wait for me, but he's walking slower. Oh, I didn't catch that in the reaction. Okay, he was trying to catch up with them, but was slower. I was wondering why he was sweating and was like talking about catching up to them, but they were just walking because he was turning into a snail. That makes much more sense now. But everybody's like gravitating towards her damn hair. And then poor Shuichi is like, what is this? And Kiri sticks to her guns. Kiri doesn't give in to temptation. She's like, no, I'm already seeing someone. I don't want your stuff. And then he gets hit by the car. Creepy. So it's raining again. And they're talking about Yamaguchi. And then they're like, oh no, not again. And then they see that it's not Katayama, it's Sumura. Yeah. Oh my God. That he had become a snail too. That didn't take very long. So then they put them together in the same cage there. And the moment that they're like looking at each other and their eyes like come out and their eyes are like intertwining, I was like, that feels a lot like the snake moment from the beginning of the episode. And surely, you know, like those, and then it's like, oh, what are they doing there? Oh, that like moment where that tongue and all that is I don't know how snail sex works, but that looks kind of similar to it. And that's horrific. That is body horror. That is the idea that these two snails, like at this point, their autonomy, like their humanity is gone, and they're just these animals with base instincts. And since snails don't have sexes, they're just basically gender neutral. They're both going at it. There is a horror there because they can't control that. And it's just like animal instincts, and that's terrifying. But then there's also like, was this kind of there all along? Was it latent there from the beginning? And now they're both getting the chance to act on it, when there is a part of it, and I don't know if it's Freudian, if you can call it that, but there is a part of it psychologically. It's like, did Sumura actually have feelings towards Katayama that he was like, you know, regressing and repressing and putting up this wall of bullying over because he didn't want to say it? But now that you can remove all the taboo, now that you can remove like the taboo of them both being men, you can remove the taboo of, you know, him being worried about it, that now they can just act on their desires. I don't know, but it's scary as F. And the fact that they like mated and had babies, nope. Well, they did. I mean, I'm presumingly they're probably going to have more because, that was like, and then the one girl shows up. So we don't get to focus anymore on the snails mating because the one classmate shows up and in no time at all, she has basically transformed her hair. So the fudge, oh my God, terrifying. Am I more noticeable now? I like that Carrie's like, I don't care. I like that Carrie's like, I don't care if you're noticeable. She's like, I didn't want this to happen at all. One thing that was apparent during the whole thing was that her like face was starting to get more gaunt and the spiral was like drawing the nutrients from her hair and like making itself grow, which was crazy. I'm glad that Shuichi like came in there to try to save her. And when he got covered up by her hair, now him getting covered up by her hair, I'm wondering, is he going to get infected because the spirals were literally around his hair? Is he going to get infected from it? He very well could. But I'm glad he cut the hair out for her and helped her get away. Like, that was good. Like, good there. So then, as she gets up next to the telephone pole, she wants more and more attention because of the spiral. And it, like, slowly curls itself around the pole and is trying to, like, make itself known all throughout town. I'm assuming she just dies. I'm assuming it just, like, sucked the life out of her. But I'm glad that Shuichi was able to help Kiri, like, cut all her hair off and get the spiral away from her. But I was really hoping that they keep telling these other people to run away. I'm like, you all need to leave. But obviously there's a reason why they don't. So then they see Mr. Yokota, who's like, they're like, what's going on? And he's like, no. And he's found all of these snail eggs. But I'm like, he was sitting there touching them. I'm sorry. In this world where humans turned into snails, the last thing that I would want to do would be to touch anything related to them. The snail trails, anything. I would not touch a single thing. I'd be like, you know what? Nope, not going to bother that. Because they're like, what are you doing? And then she's like, what is that? And she's like, they're eggs that they laid after they mated. And she's like, well, what? And then he explains what's going on. I like he doesn't question her hair being completely cut off. And so then they're like, if any of these things hatch, it'll send the town into pandemonium. Which, to be fair, that is a legit concern. I'd be putting a hazmat suit on. I'd be putting at least some gloves. Some vinyl gloves at the very least. Do some of that. Put some vinyl gloves on first. Like, why would you just start smashing them with your Adidas tennis shoes? No. Because she's like, oh, don't do that. Don't smash their eggs. And he's like, there's no choice. They aren't human anymore. They're called Homo gastropoda, snail people. Okay. And they're like, this is crazy. And then she's like, oh, wait, we have Kazunori to worry about. And she's like, we need to get out of here. Like, we don't need to stand next to him. We need to go find Kazunori and Yuriko. So I'm glad they left, because otherwise they could have turned into snail people too if they got that goop on them. But I also wondered if the teacher, when the teacher was smashing the eggs and all of this that they made, if that was also a statement to tie back to the previous thing, if he was just like, well, what they did is unnatural, if that was tying to something sexual between them as well. I just felt like there could be some symbolism there. You could derive that he was just like, it's unnatural what they did. And it's like, oh, okay. But still, I mean, on the logical end of it, baby snails created from snail people that could possibly contaminate others are a problem, but I don't know if that's the way I would have handled it. So the two of them try to get away, but the family shows up to try to stop them from running away. The scene on the beach was a little bit weird because it felt like, again, I feel like the manga, there were parts of the manga maybe cut, or there were more family members. Because when the one guy stood out in the middle of the street, I'm like, just go around him. I was like, you can outrun this old man. Go around him. But I now want to read the manga. Maybe that's the goal of this episode. To make you want to go read the manga. But they're like, we're going to be pulled apart again, aren't we? Mm-hmm. And that's when he's like, no, we're not. We'll twist together just like the snakes and then we'll be fine. That part was just so freaky. And the fact that they both they talked in class about the double helix, which is the spiral too. And then they like lock in arms and twist like the snakes. That part was creepy enough. But then the fact that the two of them are so calm about it and they're like, it's okay, we're going to be together forever. And then they just go into the sea and that's it. That part is the freakiest thing. Because I'm like, what if they have babies? What about that? It's in the ocean now. It's contaminated the water. What? Like, just insane. Insane. Speaking of insane, then the lighthouse starts to come on. And we established that anybody who looked at the light from the lighthouse, that's this giant Twin Peaks-esque spiral monster, anybody that looked at it will start to walk around in a circle, which is so creepy because they don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know what's going on. They can't help themselves. That's probably, this episode was all about like body horror and not being in control of your own body. Like Kiri and them not being in control of their hair, the people turning into snails and not being in control of the mating and the sexual actions that they're doing, the bodies that are just spinning in circles that they can't stop it. They're not in control of themselves anymore. The one boy, the Jack in the Box boy standing in front of the car, giving up that control willingly and then seeing the repercussions of it. And then you also had like the couple that made the snake rope. Like, it's just people giving up control of their bodies. Terrifying. So then we go back to the school. Speaking of terrifying, they go back to the school. I like Kiri, her shaggy look at first. I like that it calms down and makes this little pixie cut. Super cute on her. But they're like, did you hear the black lighthouse that suddenly lit up last night? And it hasn't been broken for several years. So, okay. So whatever has snuck up in there is recent. The spiral thing has snuck up in there. It's recently gotten to where it is. So that seems relevant. That seems like a timeline. And they're like, I wonder when they fixed it. And they're like, if you look into the light, you'll go insane. And they're like, that's so creepy. Also, there's a bunch of people missing. The classroom is significantly smaller than it was before. Oh, and the moment that door opened slowly, I was like, that teacher turned into a snail. And they did. But not only that, it's like there's a snail there and it's so creepy. Nope. But like, there's the teacher and like, oh my God. And she's like, well, he became a snail. It looked like, I don't know if the bumps on him, if he had eggs on him. So did he get mated with something? Did the other snails find him and mate with him? I don't even know. She's like, I can't believe he got turned into a snail person too. I'd have got the fuck out of that class. I would have been like, I don't want to turn into a snail person. So then there's the brother, Mitsuru. And he's like, you got to come quick. And I thought he was like needing to use the bathroom because he was like, I thought at first when he was like tapping his toes, and I don't know if it's just the animation was weird, but I thought maybe he was trying to keep himself from spinning in a circle. Like maybe he was trying to tap his feet so he wouldn't go in a circle. But then we had the boat that ran up during the storm, which makes sense. If the lighthouse light shined on the people in the boat, they'd start going in circles and then they'd lose control of the boat and it would crash, which makes sense. So City Hall sent 5 experts to go check out the lighthouse. 5 experts, which we found their bodies in the lighthouse. No one's heard from them since. That's the bodies that were in the lighthouse. Okay. So again, I feel like the manga is going to give us more information, but the kids just taking off towards the lighthouse. Of course, you could argue as soon as they heard that nobody's heard of them since they went to the lighthouse, the kids would get curious and they'd take off running towards there. But I feel like maybe there was something else happening in the manga. I don't know. But she's like, Mitsuo. And she's like, I guess I gotta go up. So her climbing and there just being more and more spirals and it just being really hot. When she said her head was starting to feel weird, I was like, girl, I don't know if I'd keep going. But I think it's just everything going there. And then we see the bodies. We see 3 of them that didn't make it out of the lighthouse. And so she runs up there and then we see 2 of the kids and then we see the other 2. So those are the 5 that didn't make it out. Okay. And she tells the 2 kids to leave, but then she goes to the top and there's this big ass, like it's taken over the light, this spiral. I don't know if it's an alien. I don't know if it's a creature. And they're like, sis, we can't move because the spiral is staring at us. And she says, this is the lighthouse's lens. A Fresnel lens normally is made up of concentric circles. So I want to see Fresnel lens. Fresnel lens. Oh, yeah. So it's a Fresnel lens, and whatever this is has just like it's warped over it. That's so creepy. What? Yep, concentric circles. Okay. I wonder what happened to make it look like that. And then they're like, there's all this heat that's like the whole thing is warped and distorted. And those bodies. And she's like, oh no. And she sees that once it starts getting dark, then it's going to light up. And she's like, we have to get out of here. The lighthouse beam turns on at sundown. We need to get out of here before it activates. And they're like, what are you talking about? She's like, the light must be so unbelievably hot in the lighthouse. It's hot enough to melt glass. Which is why, maybe that's why it's all melted and distorted. Oh, okay, that could be it. Yeah, from the light. Okay. So they start going down, but then like the one brother falls and he's caught by the flames and starts being lit on fire. Or is that the one friend? Was that the brother, or was that the friend? She's like, we have to go. It's coming. The heat's coming. And she's like, don't stop and keep running. So then the one kid falls, but I don't think that was her brother. And then no. So then does she get hit by it too? Yeah. The beam of the lighthouse had that awoken from its peaceful slumber, spread out ever so slowly, washing over us as the spiral swallowed us whole, leaving our town helpless to resist it. So is she going to be dead? What? 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 If she ends up, I don't know if Kiri's going to be alive or not. I mean, by the logic of the show, she should be dead with her brother and the others, but that would just leave Shuichi, so... Is she going to be alive or dead next episode? Did they make it out? Damn it. So, okay. Anyway, I am very curious to know your thoughts down below. But I will probably have to read the manga at some point after this and do a review of it to see what else was left out. But a part of me wants to buy the first volume now and go ahead and read the first volume so I can talk to you all about it. But I'll probably have to ask Patreon about that and see if that's a possibility. But in any case, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below about this one. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'm back real soon with episode 3 of Uzumaki. Bye!